Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at BTC. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so before we jump into these smaller time frame counts, we're just going to go over those two bigger ideas we're looking for here. So we're looking for the potential that what we could have here is a 5-wave move looking to develop for as long as we hold above this 24,800. This is a possibility. Now, if we do look to come down deeper here, we don't really want to cross this 786 at this 26,080 level, and effectively what we want to see is price start to push to the upside. Now we have come down here already towards this 0.382 and we have bounced off this level. So what I want to see now is if we start to see 5-wave structure developing to the upside here, we need to be on the lookout that this could be looking to start to extend for this higher move here. Now, if we are looking at this in this way, we need to see a move much higher here towards this 42,023. If we are going to look at this as a regular impulse here, where our typical wave 3 location would be in this area. Now, if we are looking at this in this way, effectively what we want to see is volume starting to pick up as price action is starting to push to the upside. Now, we need to also be careful though, because we still have the other alternative here where we could be looking at this as a bigger WXY or a ABC. Now, within this count, what we are arguing is that this could be W, this could be X, and effectively we're looking for this Y wave to the downside. Now, we haven't hit this minimum requirement, which we typically look for here at this 28,416. So if this is a Y wave here, it would be likely that it's not complete. So if we are looking at something like a Y wave still looking to come down here, I would start to look out for that potential. We could get a bounce and see a 3-wave move like this. What we also need to be careful of here is that potentially this move could become 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to the downside, in which case we could see price look to push down towards this 25,360 to this 23,646 as a possible downside target as an expanding flat. So if we do see price starting to fall away here, potentially we could look for this if we start to form impulsive structure down. Now, what we were talking about in the previous video here was actually that we could have this as a flat correction. So potentially what we could see is that this could be A, this could be B, and then we could be looking for this as a C wave to the downside. Now, we did come down here and we did hit this 0.618 level, and we also did actually move down here and hit this area of this 1.618 of this A wave over here. So because of this and the fact that we've reacted to the upside like this, I'm looking out for the potential here that this could start to develop into a bigger 5-wave move where we see something like this playing out to the upside. And if we do see something like that, we need to be on the lookout here that potentially this structure could be the start of a bigger move. Though we would only get confirmation if we get a 5-wave move to the upside after having a 3-wave move and finding support above this low. So that's going to be very important moving forward from this point. Now, within this structure, what we're saying is that this move could be potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, if this is the case, what we need to be careful of is until we actually break back above this 31,086 and actually take this high over here, we need to be very careful that within the other count where we said that the B wave is potentially here, this could actually start to become A, B, and C, in which case what we could see is price look to potentially push down towards this 27,442 if we do move up towards this golden pocket level. Now, what we'd be expecting here then would be a 3-wave move to the upside. Now, there is also other interpretations of how to count this move down, so we're going to go over that as well. But effectively, until we take these highs, we need to be very careful of continuation to the downside directly here. So it's going to be very important that we need to take these highs, and then we could start to actually plot that course up in the 3rd wave if we do get it. So another way we were talking about this idea to the downside was saying that potentially this could be 1, 2 here. We're looking at this as 1, 2, and then saying that possibly this could be another 1, 2. Now, the fact that this is so large here is making it less likely that this is the case. What I would be looking out for here, though, is because we can also count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This can either be A, B, and C, or potentially this could be 1, 2. This could be another 1, 2 here. And until we actually break above this invalidation point of this 30,391, what we need to be cautious of here is the potential that we could still see price look to break down in a bigger way here. So if this is something like a wave 1 and we're looking for a wave 2, we have come up into this 786 already. So I'm just going to be watching this move to the downside, just monitoring. If we start to see impulsive structure developing, we need to be cautious of this 27,174 as a possible target for a 3rd wave, where effectively this becomes 1, 2, 3, we get 4 and 5. And then what we'd then be looking for is that possibility of an additional fourth and a fifth, looking to bring us back down into this 26,440 to this 25,900 level. So this would be important here because this would align with that idea of the bigger C wave to the downside. So need to be on the lookout for this potential here where we could see this price start to break down. So another way that we could look at this move to the downside is that potentially what we have here from the higher end of this is that this move here is 1 and 2. And then effectively we're looking at this as another 1, 2. Now I don't like the fact that this is larger than this. So this is the worry with this count and what is making it a little bit less likely. But for as long as we stay below this 30,350, what we need to be careful of is that if this wave 3 is starting to extend out, what we could get is that this could actually become 1, 2 as a flat correction. So A, B, and C. And then we could look for this third wave to the downside. Now, confirmation would only come by dropping down towards this zone of this 27,753. And then we'd be looking out for the potential of an additional fourth and a fifth here. So these are our bearish counts where we're looking for that continuation to the downside here. They all rely on staying below these highs. So as long as we stay below them, these are potentially the most likely counts to play out here. But we need to just be on the lookout, that if we do start to hold support above this level, we could be looking to complete this move in a bigger way to the upside. Now, what we need to be aware of is we were discussing this idea in the previous video that what we could have is that this move could be a bigger A wave, a B wave, and then a C wave. Now, we were saying that what we're looking for as a target would be this 28,669 to this 28,551. Now we came down quite well into this zone and we looked at this as a three-wave move, and we're saying you need to be careful in this area. We could get a move to the upside, target area being this zone of this 30,062 to this 29,739. Now we can see that we came up pretty much on the dot to this high over here. So what we need to see now is two things. We need to see whether this low now holds. If this low holds, then potentially what we can also argue here is that this could become ABC or 1, 2, 3 to the upside. So we're going to have to watch this move up here. If this is a flat, what we would expect is price to come back down and take this low. Now, it is also possible that this could be a flat to start a move where this becomes an A wave. We get a three-wave move down and then we see continuation. So we're going to go over that idea in a second. But within this structure here, if we're looking at this as a wave 2 where this is 1, 2, we'd expect this to break directly down and take this low. If we fail to do that, then that invalidates that idea and it makes it more likely that one of the other options is in play here. So because we can also count this move in this way as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we need to be on the lookout that, this could just be an ABC to the downside and we could be completed a W, X, and a Y. Now, if we look at something like that, effectively what we could have is this is WXY here, and then what we could have is that this becomes our A wave. So if we look to hold support above this 29,032, what we could see is that this move could become ABC. Now, it is possible for this move still to see a three-wave move to the downside and actually look to sweep this low. And this could just become a bigger B wave and then a C wave as a flat correction. So that is also something we need to be on the lookout for here. If we see price break down one more time here in three waves, it could be that we're just forming a bigger flat here. And effectively what we'd be looking for here is that this whole move over here would be looking to create a bigger three-wave pattern where this becomes a wave, this becomes a B wave, and then we still see a C wave to the downside. Now, in the previous video, we were also talking about that possibility that this could be W, X, Y, and we're looking for the potential of coming back up into this red box area for another X wave, and we have done this. So we need to respect the idea that if this is W, this is X, this is Y. If this is another X wave here, we could still see another three-wave move to the downside. Now, if we do see three waves to the downside, Z wave target would be this 28,421. Now, that is something that would align as well with this idea of becoming a bigger flat correction here. So we'd have to be careful if we see something like this. This could align with either being a bigger B wave or X wave here, and then looking to continue to the downside after that, or alternatively, you know, this could then become an X, and then we have this as a Y, and then that is complete. So we're going to have to be careful with this one. If we do see price push back to the upside here and we reject off of this 31,042 to this 30,119 area, effectively what we would then be looking for would be the potential of another drop to the downside, looking to come back into this channel and possibly target out this 27,894 as a target. So that would be looking at, you know, the bearish continuation to the downside, looking to see, you know, a small move up here, and either we break down directly now, or we see this develop correctively to the upside and then look to break to the downside here. Now, if this is looking to move up here, we also need to be aware of this higher target here. If this is going to become something like a flat correction, we could see price still push up into this zone. So going to be keeping an eye on this. If we do see something like a zigzag develop to the upside here, this could align with something like a bigger flat correction developing, where we see price come up into these levels, sweep these highs, and then still look to come back down and sweep these lows. So we just need to be careful of this idea that this could be extending. Now, if we want to go and talk about bullish potential here, the way that I'm currently looking at this move to the upside is that this move could either be completed, where we say that within the structure here, what we have is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we've had an extension in the fifth wave in this case. Now, if this is the case, what we'd be looking for is effectively a 3-wave move to the downside. We could argue that this is potentially looking complete in here. Possibly we could come down a little bit more. If I throw this fib on here, let's see what our 1-to-1. So our 1-to-1 targets actually bring us back into this area here of this 29,237. If we do see price come back into this level, it would make a lot of sense. If this is a fourth wave here, this typically happens with impulses. We can revisit these zones, but we have done enough by coming down into this 0.382. Now 50% would align with coming into this area here, and if we do see price come back down a little bit lower here, 29,135 to this 29,000 would be aligning with that golden pocket. Now, if we are looking at this, looking for a break to the upside here, effectively what we want to see is a 3-wave move down, finding support, a push up towards this 31,856. That would be our current 1.618. So if we want to see a break to the upside, we need to see price action hitting this 1.618 area here. It is possible we could form something like 1.212 here and then look to push to the upside. So that's also something to look out for. If we just get a 3-wave move up here, potentially we could still look to find support above the low and then seeing price push to the upside again. So going to be monitoring this. Now, the other way we can argue that this is taking place is that we're actually still within this fourth wave. Now, the reason I don't like this, and I prefer the other way of looking at it as this move is completed to this high, is because of the time difference between this wave 2 and this wave 4. I have got it marked out here because we are still holding this support level. If we do see price push to the upside one more time here, and we see a move up to this 30,468 to this 30,207, potentially we can then start to argue that this is you know, a valid counter. But I do think that it's more likely that this move is completed into this high. So the key thing to take away from this, if we're looking at all these different scenarios, is that if this move over here is completed into this low, what we would be expecting is to see a 5-wave move up, 3-wave move down, and then seeing continuation. So this low is going to be important now for us if we're looking for that direct break to the upside. So this 28,585. If we are looking at this move as a corrective structure from over here, where this becomes A, B, and C, what we have is two options. If this is going to be a wave 2 or an X wave, what we would be expecting is price to break down, take this low. If it fails to take this low, effectively then what we could be looking for is something along these lines, where we have this as our A wave, we get a B wave down, and then we potentially see this C wave looking to push us back up into this area here of this 31,042 to this 30,119. If we do see price come back up into these levels, then we need to be on the lookout for that possibility that price could continue to fall to the downside. Now, it's going to be very important how we move up, because if we do get a C wave here, what we also need to be careful of is that this could become 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we look to push up. So it's going to be very key here that if we hold this low, we do have bullish potential to the upside. If we start to see 5-wave structure down from this point, however, we need to be very careful of that idea of that break to the downside in that bigger third wave. And really, At the moment, it is looking more likely for as long as we actually fail to break these highs, and if we fail to hold support here, that we're going to be seeing that bigger sell-off play out. But as long as we hold this, we do have that bullish potential. Having a look at the daily CPR lines here, what we can see is that the previous CPR lines are engulfed within today's CPR lines. So this can potentially mean that we're going to see some range trading. Now, this could just be within this current range that we're in, or it could be more locally within a smaller range here, and we just potentially look to move sideways today. It can also potentially look to break from these levels if we do continue to hold these higher zones. If we do see price move back to the upside here, potential targets for today would be this 30,102, 30,492, 31,250, and this 31,651. If we do see these actually get lost, these central lines here, this 29,525 could potentially be resistance where we currently are. We have support lower down here, potentially at this 29,345 and this 29,155 as potential support zones for today. As well as that, if we do look to move back down here into the S1 line, that would be this 28,952. So that would align with the idea of this starting to move to the upside in a bigger way, looking to find support in this area before either looking for a C wave or a third wave to the upside. Now, if we do look to break down today and we start to lose these central lines here, start to break down, take out the previous day's low here at this 28,585, potential targets to the downside for today is this 28,180. We have this 27,796 and this 27,000 as a potential target for today. Now, flipping this over and having a look at the weekly pivots here, what we can see is that price actually came down. We interacted with our S1 line, and now we came back up, hit our R1 line, and effectively we are above these central lines. Now, for as long as we remain above these, we have potential to see continuation up. We can find support in this area. There is also horizontal support in this zone, so this is quite an interesting area. If we do see this hold, then potentially this week upside targets could be this 30,649 and this 31,205. If, however, we see price starting to reject here and we start to break down in a bigger way and we start to find resistance on these, we could see price either be gravitated back towards this S1 line at this 28,733, or we could see price start to fall away towards these lower areas here, this 28,172, 27,484 is going to be our downside targets for this week. Now, if we come over here and have a look at the monthly, what we can see is that we actually moved up and we've rejected off of our central CPR line here. So if we do see price continue to hold above this low, potentially what we could see is another attempt of looking to break through these. If we do see price looking to reject to the downside directly and we fail to reclaim these areas, what we could look for as targets for this month would be this 28,133. We have this 27K, that's aligning with the weekly one, and this 25,180 as potential targets for this month. Now, if we do see price looking to flip these areas into support, what we could then see is price could get gravitated to the upside. 31,069 is our R1 line. We have the R2 up here, this 32,914, and this 34 is going to be our R3 line. So we're going to be keeping an eye on these. We need to just bear in mind, you know, these can be potential resistance areas above us. So even if we just see something like this, a three-wave move up, I will be looking out at this 30,330 because it is aligning with these highs over here. Possibly that could align with just you know, a corrective move up here, and then we look to break down from that point if we fail to reclaim that level. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it is free to join. Everyone have a great day. We will see you in the next one. Take care.